ahead, Jenny.
Question was, from all that you've done, fashion and beauty journalist, the founder of Evoluer House, like what was the pivotal moment in your life that made you decide to use your platform for social change?
Yeah. So, I was raised in a family of activists. So I grew up seeing my mother and my brother always doing things to help the community and to uplift people. So my mom opened up our home. So it was a March of Dimes, which is an organization that I think at that time helped babies. Opened up our home as a March of Dimes drop off so people could drop off food and just anything to help other people. My mother was an activist where she helped schools get built. So her and the then at that time senator, who was a lawyer, Senator Hardy Williams, because they didn't want little black children walking through dangerous neighborhoods to get to school. So Senator Harvey, was it Hardy Williams, and other people in the neighborhood got together and forced the school district to build schools for little children. So then my brother, he helped develop one of the first and the largest uh, Black sexual education facilities to help people who were dying, or well, people in general who had HIV/AIDS. So, and that organization is called Babashi, Blacks Educating Blacks About Sexual Health Issues. And my brother died, my mother died, but the building is still standing today, and it serves like 20,000 people a year. So, and they were fighters. So, and then also I grew up in a Christian home, so we always were taught to help people. So, I mean, I saw that all around me. I saw how to be an activist. It was around me every day. So it was like a natural thing for me to, when I came out of fashion, well, I'm still in fashion, but to help people. So that's what we did in our family. We got a long history of service. So my granddaddy was a preacher. My two brothers were preachers. My great granddaddy was a preacher and a bishop. So I'm the fourth generation of that legacy. So it's a family legacy. I mean, I didn't really realize that I'd be doing this, but and then the fashion side, my mother put me in fashion because I was a tomboy, right? So she did that to help me turn into a young lady, because I was mischievous and always got in trouble. So she thought by putting me in beauty pageants, performing arts schools, um, and modeling, that would help me turn me into a lady. And it did. It did. It's not that I wanted to do it. That was what she did to save her daughter, and it worked.
You eventually fell in love with it, and you still love it.
Obviously,
So
I've
I
been in
think
it for a long time. Yeah.
that was a great initiative from her.
Hmm.
Uh, and as someone who has spent years in the fashion and beauty industry, how do you navigate the often exclusive nature of these fields, and how have your experiences shaped your mission to support women of color?
Yeah. So a friend said to me at one time that the fashion industry was a very pale industry, meaning a very white industry. So it was. We had to fight like everything else, extra hard, be extra good. We had to go through affirmative action initiatives, believe it or not, when we were trying to get in magazines like Vogue, and all of the top publications in New York. They just wouldn't let us in unless you were the daughter of a socialite or a celebrity. So, and Anna Winter, the editor of Vogue, she finally came out and admitted that. And I think she apologized or something like that, to that nature, for not allowing Black people or not opening the doors for them to get a job at Vogue magazine. We had to go through some kind of affirmative action initiative, and it would take forever for your resume to get seen by someone, but by that time we all had other jobs.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a challenge that you had to go through. I mean, throughout your life, you've had to go through challenges, and that has to be one of them. And for so many other women of color. And I'm glad that, today, there's still some challenges, but I think today, it's a little bit better.
Yeah.
The Evoluer House focuses on empowering undeserved women. Uh, what are some of the most impactful stories or transformations you've witnessed through the organization, and what keeps you motivated in your work?
Well, we kind of have a confidentiality privacy thing with the girls, some of them who are still underage. So it's amazing stories. Well, you're one of them. You're one of the amazing stories. Um, they're so like touching and very like in a way devastating, but joy happened in the end. That I'm trying to think of one that I could share. Well, I know one. I'll put it this way: we had one girl who we had no idea what would happen. Her parents were addicted to drugs, and and there was some other setbacks in her life, but she made it to law school. We have girls who've gone through the foster care system, and they eventually got full ride scholarships to a 4-year college and came out of college debt free. There are so many stories. I just can't tell them all. Because, these girls, they still got to get jobs. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously no excuses, and I think I always say that each one of us are capable of doing great things, no matter, our struggles or our pains or whatever we've gone through. But I think the Elder House is definitely a place where you can grow and you can find your voice and find yourself. And there's so many good people there. Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't doubt for a second that there's many stories of young girls who have succeeded.
Yes, indeed. They achieved their dreams and never thought they could.
Definitely.
Mm.
Uh,
Look, I could tell you too, our successes are 100%, of course, graduate high school on time, 100% go to a college or some other form of institution, but it is 100% college acceptance. 51% go to school on full ride scholarships, and 51% come out of college debt free.
Hmm. Yeah. Yes. That is great, and that's amazing. And I know the other house just keeps doing that, and I hope I'm an old lady, and the other house is still. uh okay, so what does it mean for you to receive the $10,000 mental health action day grant by MTV? That was huge. What encouraged you to apply?
Well, believe it or not, every time I apply for something, I always have the girls in mind. If I don't, I won't be able to help and save girls. Our organization runs on money. We need money. We have to get out there and stay out there and meet people. Hopefully we'll meet some of the wealthiest people in the world who will just donate, and we don't have to worry about doing heavy fundraising. So when I apply for those things, it not only gives us money, but it also elevates the mission, and it lets the world know that young girls of color need help and that they're suffering. So a win for me in anything that I do is a win for every girl who needs to have opportunities and experiences to thrive.
Definitely. Were you surprised, or were you confident that you were surprised? Okay. That, yeah.
So you never know who's going to win.
Mhm.
Sometimes you never know if it's rigged, for somebody else to win. I had no idea, but I think that was just a wonderful surprise with the MTV grant. It's called oh God, do you know what Mental Health Action Day? That's what it's called. So, and it's global. So, that's going to help elevate Evoluer House's name and mission even more. So it was a great thing.
For sure, for sure. Yes, definitely. And of course, I want to be there to see all of those achievements.
Mm,
Uh,
I hope you can participate. We're doing two things. One day we're having a workshop and a yoga session.
Great. Just send me the information.
I will. I will. Yeah, because we want our girls to feel well. Right now, the world is in such a upside down state. And we know that girls are traumatized. We know uh, people in general, adults are traumatized.
Mhm.
So we want to just make sure they know about self care, take time out, and how to handle, their mental health.
Yes, definitely. I mean, yeah, there's so many things going on, but we have to find a way to cope with those things. So, yes. Okay, so you've been recognized with honors like this one, but also L'Oreal Paris Women of Worth and the White House Champion of Change. What does recognition mean to you personally, and how do you think it helps amplify your cause?
Yeah. So I have hundreds of awards,
So
and
many. I just mentioned those, but
so, and it's amazing too, because who would have thought a little troubled girl from West Philadelphia would grow up to do things to change the world? I had no idea. I mean, I used to fight people, when I was little. So sometimes if I don't even stop, well, I do now. I stop to have gratitude because before I didn't, and I just kept going because I didn't want to look back. I wanted to look forward to see what's next. But like I was saying earlier, when something great happens here at Evoluer House, it is a win for every girl who has a desire to be somebody, because that way we can help not only her, our alumni, we can help other young girls come in to achieve their dreams. So I'm always surprised, but I know I worked hard and I know that those awards are deserving, and I'm glad I can say that I didn't get it out of favoritism. That I know of. I got it because I worked hard for it.
for your hard work, definitely. And yes, they are so deserving, each one of them. Uh, as an author, journalist, and advocate, I mean, you've worn so many hats. How do you balance these different roles, and which one do you feel most connected to at this point in your life?
The balance. Mm-hmm. Well, because I went to school in New York and lived in New York for a long time, which is so fast paced. Everybody in New York that I was around, my community, particularly fashion and performing arts, they were thriving to be famous and to be somebody. So it was very fast paced. I saw a lot of times where a lot of my girlfriends didn't stop to take care of their personal health. And the next thing you know, they got sick and had to actually, in many cases, give up their career and go back home, because most of them were not from New York, whether they're from the South or Midwest, whatever. They had to go back home and give up their career. So earlier, I mean, I did know about self-care. I knew about going to church to make you be a better person, but I didn't know about self-care. And I know I did pay the price for not taking care of myself and not knowing too much about taking time out from your work. It's not all just work, 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 work. Where for me it was, I would let nothing get in my way. Not even my boyfriend. I had a boyfriend, and he knew if it was time for me to go to a dance class or a theater practice, he knew not to interfere at all. So nothing got in my way. But there's a price you pay sometimes. I know I did with my health. So now at Evoluer House, one of the big deals and priority is for everyone here to ensure that they're doing some sort of self-care and looking out for themselves first.
Yeah, because life goes fast and you get so much in your head, thinking about all of these things that you have to do. And self-care is the only thing that, well, not the only thing, but one of the things that kind of like brings you back and lets you know that you have to take care of yourself. So, yes, I mean, it has to be advocated for sure. In your work,
Yeah,
sorry.
but I also think women of color need to do radical self-care. It's so important because we have to navigate through this world differently, so there's an extra stress put on us that is not put on other ethnicities.
Exactly, because you're not, I mean, you're a woman, but you're not only a woman, you're a woman of color. Uh, in your work, you often focus on the idea of giving back and creating opportunities for those who are often overlooked, like young women of color. What advice would you give to others who want to start making an impact in their own communities?
Mhm. Well, this generation coming up, I love them. They're different. They are different that way. But I do believe that there are saving grace. I do believe that they need guidance. They need, well, we all do need someone in our corner who can mentor us, if they'll listen. So when it comes down to advice, I still resort back to the old school idea of I don't believe in faking it till you make it. I mean, some aspects of that may work, but I believe in, for me, I ask myself, what do I want to be? Do I want to be the best? I always wanted to be the best at what I did. So I was going to work hard. And even in my era, you couldn't fake it. You couldn't come in there faking it. You had to have skills, whether you were a hairstylist, makeup artist, a choreographer, you had to be skilled. So I was lucky, whereas I was trained and mentored by the best in the world, like the designer from Pittsburgh, Mississippi, who made it in Paris, Patrick Kelly. He was like my roommate. I had my other buddy that I hung with. He's a two-time Emmy Award winner for designing costumes for the Muppets. He worked alongside Jim Henson. So, I know what greatness looks like. So I decided to be great. And so I tell people, even with my image company, where I work with, upscale people, and soccer moms too, but upscale, a lot of vice presidents and stuff. And I tell them, I said, well, if you're looking for ordinary, you can't come to me because I don't do ordinary. I only do extraordinary. I said, that's the level where I started, and that's where I'm going to end. Extraordinary. I don't know what basic really looks like, and I don't want to.
That is amazing. I love you, Miss Cheryl.
Thank you.
As a woman of color in industries that sometimes feel inaccessible, what are some of the biggest challenges you've faced? I know you've mentioned some already, but I would like to hear how have you overcome them to pave the way for others.
Well, I don't think I can tell you, and that you can write it in a magazine. Maybe,
Okay.
when you get a podcast or something where you can tell me what the words that I can say and what I can't say. Um, But there have been a lot of challenges. I think my faith, strong believer in God and that I can do anything, has been the foundation for me to be able to still be here, still be in the fashion industry, and to still have my colleagues call on me to say, hey, we want you to be a part of the Fashion Institute of Technology. advisory council. So I still work in that capacity with helping people, even in the fashion realm, as well as in girl empowerment.
Mhm. Great. I didn't know that. That's a really good fact.
Oh, you didn't know I was on the council?
Oh,
Oh, that's why I was
you
wondering.
told me, but I completely forgot.
Did I? Did I tell you?
I'm not sure.
Probably not. No, because I was wondering if you were going to go there. You know what I mean? Because if I had an inside contact, I would do what I can just to help you get in there,
I know you would. Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Okay. What's next for you in the Evoluer House? And how do
Well,
you envision
huh?
the organization
Oh,
evolving in the next few years?
mhm. So this is the way I see it. A lot of times funders want you to keep growing, keep growing, keep growing. I'm always going to grow because that's like my second name. They want you to do another new program and they want to see certain things happen in order to fund you, but I don't see it that way. I know that there are thousands of millions of young girls in the United States that need help. There's a baby born every day. So, if we have a program that works and it's helping girls to be power girls, I want to keep doing that. So, but I do know that our mission is to make sure that Evoluer House is considered the Harvard University of development schools for girls of color. Now, I know, that's could be controversial, to serve only girls of color, but then you have to look at girls of color and what has been done to them in terms of what the evidence says. So then my question is, so what am I supposed to do? Just let them die figuratively and literally? Am I going to be like what is a part of my culture to jump in and help them? So I choose to help them. So for the future, um, I just see helping more girls to grow into being power women to help make our world a better place and for Evoluer House to be among the most prestigious schools in the country where girls of color can come and learn how to be great.
And that will happen. I mean, in my mind, it's already happening, but yes, it will happen, and it's not controversial at all. I think, you know, they are the ones that need the most help. And if they come, it's because they want to come and they want to keep learning and keep shaping the person that they want to be in the future. So,
Well, also too, I think that I have an obligation to show the next generation of what greatness looks like. They can look at TV, they can be on the internet, but still, well, what you see on the internet, a lot of times, and I'm not really judging people, but I am. Um, let's say reality TV with girls getting together and fighting and then dressing up in makeup and pushing your boobs up. Um, that's not all that there is to being great. And I can't say that that's great. You can be a great fighter, but I want more for our girls in terms of the images that they see. I want to see more positive images of us. And this is just me. Everybody has the right to do what they want, to be what they want. I want to see more positive images of women of color and to make sure they have opportunity and experiences to thrive, no matter what zip code they live in.
yeah, there's always more to aspire to. And I mean, reality TV definitely plays a part, not, their whole lives, but it definitely plays a part on how minds are shaped and what we believe is like the right or wrong thing. If
Well,
that
there were studies actually that spoke to that, and they were talking about girls who live in low income households don't have the same opportunity as, say, a child who may come from a middle class background, because that child, her mother can afford to send her to all kinds of like swim lessons, after school activities, so she doesn't have to sit there in front of TV and watch that mess. But say a girl who is from a single family household and, low income, she, her experiences are completely different. She believes what she sees is reality.
Mhm.
So, that is having a terrible effect on certain girls. And it's just not right
And
in
it
my
keeps happening. So that's why the Evoluer House is, a great opportunity to get out of that.
Yeah, to see other things, have other experiences, and then let them be the judge what they want to do.
Exactly. 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 You've had I mean, you've had a profound impact on the lives of so many women. Who inspires you in your personal life and professional journey?
Well, now or
Now.
what? Now, right? Okay. Well, my mom and my brother, they inspired me because they set the foundation to allow me to see uh options of what to do. Do I want to be act? My first career was dance. Okay, that was my first career. I was trained at Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater in New York. So my goal was to have like 4 Tony Awards when I was like in my 20s. That's what my goal was. But it didn't happen because I had a knee injury. I fell off stage and it ruined, that career was over. So my role model back then, and I hate to date myself, was Josephine Baker, Lola Falana, because those were the only really Black women who were around, and who had actual stage shows. Like Lola Falana was in Vegas and making a lot of money, like $250,000, and back then that was wonderful money. And then Josephine Baker, she was just um, upsetting the world with her beautiful costumes and just doing basic, what I call, some of it was street dancing, but still she was the toast of Paris, and she conquered the world, and she was just a regular girl. So those were my two of my role models. Alvin Ailey was another one. Here was a Black man who had to who they would not rent a dance studio to in New York, so he had to have classes in an alley. But then when he died, I think he had an endowment worth 500 million. It was a big endowment, and he wound up being one of the wonderful, most celebrated dance companies in the world. It still stands today doing great things. So there were a lot of other, Patrick Kelly, Jeffrey Bean, Mary McFadden. It was so many who actually mentored us in New York at school. So, but my brother and my mother were my biggest influences I see now, because I got to watch them, do all this great stuff to help other people.
Mhm. Those are really great role models. And what was your favorite dance? Genre of dance?
Well, it's interesting because I studied ballet, jazz, tap, um, and modern. So modern was pretty cool, but I love jazz. I love jazz. I love Broadway dancing. Ballet, it was great to for your body posture and to connect with my center and all that kind of stuff. But back then it was so different. They didn't recognize Black women's bodies in ballet, and I had a teacher. My ballet teacher was from Paris, and he used to go around the room with this pointer stick and always point at the Black girl's butt, like saying, tuck it in, tuck it in. And we couldn't tuck it in, we were curvy.
Mhm.
So um, that it was nice, but I really didn't like that. I also like Dunham. That's an ethnic dance. Dunham dance was magnificent because it was something that I felt like I knew. But jazz was my favorite genre.
Jazz is so underrated nowadays. It
Mhm.
really is.
hmm And what was interesting was back then they had real dancers, like you could get a job as a dancer. Now then the street dancing came out and hip hop came out. And so the jobs that we would have normally got, they all went to street dancers and hip hop dancers. So that was interesting.
So, so interesting how everything just,
Changes.
yeah. Uh, okay. Looking back at your career, if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
I think everything was a learning lesson. I every mistake was a good thing in a way because I learned from it and I kept going. But that worked for me. But everybody has their own trials and tribulations, and what works for me might not work for them. So it's hard. I know one thing, and it's hard to tell people what to do. I find that out because you never know someone's real story. I always know, I know now, but I didn't know it then. I was destined for greatness, and that's it. I was destined to do great things.
I'll do them every day. So, uh, that's it. I'm very grateful for this